For over a decade, the crack of a rifle across the Louisiana bayou was like a dinner bell for millions of viewers. The History Channel's Swamp People dropped us into a world that felt completely raw and authentic. We got to know generations of families, the Landrys, the Edwards, the Molinaires, as they hunted monster gators, navigated sketchy waters, and lived by a code that felt like it was from another time. They were shown as tough, tight-knit crews, held together by family, community, and the 30-day gator season that ruled their lives. We saw grit, we saw family, we saw a simple life, or at least, that's what producers wanted us to see. But what if the real swamp wasn't the one with the alligators, but the one brewing right behind the cameras? What if all that on-screen friendship was just a carefully edited illusion, hiding bitter feuds, shocking betrayals, and network meddling? For years, the cast of Swamp People kept quiet, tied down by contracts and worried about network punishment. They had to watch as their friends and family got cut from the show with zero explanation, as their real-life problems were spun into TV drama, and as the network buried scandals they never wanted you to find out about. But that silence is finally breaking. The stars are now stepping forward to expose it all, the mass firings that gutted the cast, the lies fed to them by production, and the dark secrets the network fought to keep hidden. And the truth is way more shocking than any gator hunt we ever saw. The year was 2015, and Swamp People was a ratings beast for the History Channel. After 6 seasons, fans felt like they knew the cast personally. These weren't just characters, they felt like family. Viewers tuned in every week to see Troy Landry, the self-proclaimed king of the swamp, to watch the quiet professionalism of Junior Edwards and his sons, Willie and Randy. To root for the Gator Queen, Liz Cavalier, and to laugh at the antics of Jeremy Pruitt and David Ladart. These people were the heart of the show. And then, almost overnight, they were gone. In a move that felt like a corporate bloodbath, the network, working with a new production company, decided to clean house. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. It was a full-on purge. A dozen fan-favorite, longtime cast members got the call that their time on the show was over. The list was unbelievable: Junior Edwards and his family, the beloved Gator Queen Liz, Pruitt, and Ladart were all unceremoniously dropped. The firings were as sudden as they were brutal. There was no goodbye episode, no final send-off, and no real explanation given to the millions of fans who had followed these people for years. One day they were part of the Swamp People family, the next, they were completely erased. The cast themselves were blindsided. Jeremy Pruitt and David Ladart took to Facebook to break the news to their shocked fans, writing, "Just wanted to let everyone know that we just got the call from Swamp People on History that we were cut from the show. We had a great time and met so many wonderful people. Thank you to all the fans." The fan reaction was instant and angry. The show's social media pages were flooded with comments from viewers who felt totally betrayed. They demanded to know why their favorite hunters were suddenly gone. While the network stayed mostly silent, the cast and fans were left to guess the real reasons. Was it about money? That was the most popular theory. Liz Cavalier herself suggested that the cast had probably asked for a pay raise, which seemed fair given how popular the show was. She believed that instead of paying them what they were worth, the network decided it was just cheaper to find new people. It was a cold, calculated business move that treated the cast like they were disposable. The message seemed to be that no one was safe and everyone was replaceable. It was the moment the illusion shattered and fans realized Swamp People wasn't just a documentary, it was a TV show, run by executives in a boardroom far from the bayou. The mass firings were the first crack in the show's perfect image, but what came next made fans question everything they thought was real. As former cast members started talking, a picture began to form of a show where reality was a very flexible word. The idea that we were getting an unfiltered look at gator hunters started to fall apart under rumors that key moments and even character traits were exaggerated for the camera's point. One of the most persistent, though unconfirmed, rumors targeted the show's biggest star, Troy Landry. On screen, Troy was the ultimate Cajun hunter, loud, skilled, and all about family tradition. His thick accent and his bond with his sons, Jacob and Chase, were a huge part of his appeal. But an unverified source, claiming to be a distant Landry cousin, alleged that a lot of this was played up for TV. The source claimed that Troy's famous accent was intentionally exaggerated for the cameras, turning him into more of a caricature. Even more shocking was the allegation about the family's hunting tradition. The show gave us this great story of a father passing down his life's work to his sons. But the source claimed that before the show, Jacob Landry wasn't all that interested in hunting with his dad. According to this rumor, it was only after producers created the family legacy storyline that Jacob became a key part of the operation. If true, it means one of the most beloved family dynamics on the show was less about real life and more about a story created by producers for good TV. This wasn't the only claim of its kind. RJ and J. Paul Molinaire were known for their deep connection to their Native American heritage. But here, too, there were whispers that production pushed them to play up their spiritual practices, believing it made them more interesting characters on screen. It's a common practice in reality TV to amplify certain traits, but these claims suggest the show wasn't just documenting reality, it was creating it. For fans who believed they were watching real people in a real profession, the idea that they were actually watching managed characters was a tough pill to swallow. While producers might have been creating drama on screen, the cast's real lives were often exploding with chaos that was far more shocking than anything on the show. The pressure of fame seemed to create a perfect storm of legal trouble, shattering the image of the simple, honorable people viewers thought they knew. This was especially true for the Molinaire family. On TV, RJ and his son J. Paul were portrayed as skilled hunters and proud members of the United Homa Nation. But in 2013, a horrifying incident showed a much more violent side. According to police reports, RJ and J. Paul got into a roadside argument with a 24-year-old man, followed him to a convenience store, and brutally assaulted him. RJ allegedly hit the man with a beer bottle, and the victim was left with a black eye and a swollen jaw. Both father and son turned themselves in and were charged with aggravated battery. The story sent shockwaves through the fan community. The network didn't fire them right away, but the scandal followed them until they were eventually phased out of the show around 2019. And they weren't the only ones with a police record. One of the show's earliest stars, Joe LaFont, also known as Trapper Joe, had a dark side that led to his sudden disappearance from the series. In 2012, LaFont was arrested for domestic violence after a fight with his girlfriend in a hotel. The arrest report stated that he punched her and tried to burn her with a lit cigarette. The incident was so serious that the network seemed to have no choice but to quietly remove him from the show, offering no public explanation. The pattern of trouble continued. Chase Landry, Troy's son, was arrested in 2016 for firing a gun at another boat during a confrontation on the water. He claimed he fired a warning shot, but the incident still led to charges. These weren't just isolated events, they were part of a troubling trend where the fame and money from the show seemed to bring out the cast's worst impulses, revealing an ugly reality just under the surface. Beyond the network drama and legal scandals, the cast of Swamp People has also dealt with deep, personal darkness, real-life tragedies and terrifying accidents. While the show makes gator hunting look like a fun adventure, it often smooths over the real dangers of the job and the heartbreaking losses the cast has suffered when the cameras are off. A truly harrowing example is what happened to Dusty Crumb. Known as the Wildman, Dusty was a python hunter with a fearless attitude. But in November 2021, his life was changed by a horrific car accident. The truck he was a passenger in flipped 3 times, and his right leg was thrown out the window and crushed under the vehicle's weight. In a moment of pure adrenaline, he managed to pull his mangled leg back inside. Bleeding badly on the side of the road, he used his own shirt to make a tourniquet, saving his own life. He spent the next month in the hospital, going through 5 different surgeries as doctors fought to save his leg. His story is a brutal reminder of how fragile life is, and a huge contrast to the invincible image we see on TV. Tragedy has also hit the cast in the most final way. In 2012, fans mourned the sudden death of Mitchell Gist, who was a beloved character alongside his brother Glenn. He collapsed on his boat and later died from what was ruled a heart attack, passing away in the swamp that had been his home his entire life. Then, in 2018, the Edwards family was struck by tragedy when Randy Edwards, Jr.'s son, was killed in a car accident at just 35 years old. Reports said he failed to make a turn, hit a utility pole, and was ejected from his vehicle. The loss was a huge blow to his family and to viewers who had watched him on the show. These losses and accidents show the real price of life in the swamp, a life filled with dangers that are often sanitized for television. The world of swamp people is clearly a lot more complicated than the show let on. From corporate firings to shocking arrests and real-life heartbreak, the cast has been through a lot that viewers never saw. If you're surprised by these secrets, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite reality shows. Now we have to ask, does knowing all this change how you see swamp people? Let us know what you think in the comments below. When you look behind the curtain of swamp people, the story gets pretty messy. We were sold a tale of tradition, family, and a rugged life on the bayou. But the reality was a tangle of network control, bitter feelings, and lives thrown into chaos by fame. The mass firing showed a cold business that saw its stars as replaceable. The rumors of staged drama made people question if anything was real. And the legal troubles and personal tragedies showed lives that were anything but simple. It all seems to point to the strange, and sometimes destructive, influence of turning real people into reality entertainment. The pressure to perform for the camera clearly took its toll, leaving you to wonder if it's even possible to capture reality on TV without changing, and sometimes damaging, the people in front of the lens.